I'd just like to really just say how much I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me, from youth leaders to to the adult leaders to really everybody. Everyone has just extremely influenced me while I'm here. I'd like to give a really big, special, warm thanks to my family and friends. If it wasn't for you guys pushing me every step of the way and getting me rides everywhere I needed to go, I don't really know what I would have done. Yeah, so I really just want to, I really want to thank everybody just for everything that they've done. I wouldn't be standing here right now where I am if it wasn't for the support of all you guys. Stephen?
We began this program today with the Scout Oath, a promise that Scout Stephen Dolan has recited many times. The Scout Oath is not only a promise he's made, however, just as the Scout Law is not only a set of rules he's ever followed. At this time, I'd like Scout Connor Quicken to have a career.
The scouting program is designed to grow with the boy. Tiger Cub activities, for example, are quite simple when compared to those of a Boy Scout troop, and we require much more of Boy Scouts than we do of Tiger Cubs. Tiger Cubs are first-grade Cub Scouts. Like their older brothers, one of the first things they do is learn the Cub Scout promise. I, Connor, promise to do my best, to do my duty to guide my country, to help other people, and to obey the law of the pack. The law reads as follows. The Cub Scout follows a Caleb. The Cub Scout helps the pack go. The pack helps the Cub Scout grow, and the Cub Scout gives goodwill. The motto of the Cub Scouts is do your best. The next step, of course, is Boy Scouting, where the boys learn the oath and the law that we say at each of our meetings. Boy Scouting also has a motto, be prepared, and a slogan, do a good turn daily. During his scouting career, Stephen Dolan has learned and striven to obey all of these promises, oaths, laws, mottos, slogans, and slogans. Later today, he will repeat one more promise, the Eagle Scout promise. The important thing to remember, and this applies to all of us, is that we shouldn't forget the promises we've made just because we're making a new promise now. It's important to do our best, to help other people, and to follow Kayla and give goodwill, to be prepared and to do a good turn daily. The Scout Oath, the Scout Law, and the rest are not just for Scouts, they're for life. I'd now like to call Jacob up for the Trail to Eagle.
We are gathered here today to mark the end of a big journey, a journey up to the Trail to Eagle. Stephen, at this time, please step forward. As a new scout, his first task was to learn the scouting ideals, the oath, the law, and the motto, and the slogan. By pledging to live by these guidelines, he became a full-fledged scout and earned his scout badge. His new badge didn't stay on his uniform for long. He quickly worked through the tenderfoot requirements, memorizing the oath and the law, going to his first camp out and learning basic first aid skills. He's now a tenderfoot scout. As he continued to be active in the troop, he learned about nature and orienteering and knot tying. He participated in service projects and in a program on the dangers of alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. Doing these things and more earned him the second-class badge. Soon, a year had passed. He had been on 10 campouts and many hikes. He had mastered all the basic scout skills. On September 21st, 2010, he became first-class scout, and he truly was first class. At this point, he paused for a well-deserved rest. The path ahead was less clear than the path he had been following. Now he had to make some choices. which merit badges to earn, what troop office to hold, where to spend his service hours. With hard work and persistence, though, he made the decisions, completed the requirements, and earned the Star Scout badge. The next rank seemed no harder than Star, but he had already done most of the easy merit badges. Now he had to earn more badges like swimming, first aid, aviation, camping, wilderness survival, and emergency preparedness. He worked hard as a troop leader, completed more service projects, and became a life scout, one step away from Eagle. The going got pretty tough now. He could no longer put off these really hard badges. And now he not only had to participate in service projects, but he had to plan and lead such a project. At this time, Stephen, please come forward and describe the Eagle project.
So for those of you who aren't aware with the project that I conducted, my project was building a multitude of bluebird boxes that were erected here on the Church of the Incarnation's property, if you saw them driving in possibly, if you came in from the other direction. I put up 3 boxes here on the church's property and then one on the adjacent property of Java, right across the street. And it seems as though the Bluebird Society that was so nice as to assist me in aiding some schematics and some other plans, put up another box there. I also did some work behind the church here. There's a nice trail that you guys can go for a walk on. And fortunately, the railings are now fixed, so you don't have to worry about falling all the time. So, the project it was relatively tough for the time being. The idea didn't come to me immediately. So, like a lot of other scouts probably right now in this room that are in life, they're probably thinking of doing something at Ivy Creek. But I didn't decide to do that due to the fact that I guess I've been going to this church for about the 3 years that I've been here now, and I've been getting a little more active, and the influence that the youth group and everyone else has put out on me, I felt I had to give something back. So I put in the hours, I put in the time, I got my crew together. A lot of you guys who did some of the work on the project are here today, and I thank you greatly for the amount of work that you guys did. And now today, it's very nice to know that people use that trail relatively often, and that bluebirds currently inhabit the boxes that we built. So at least we know we're being put to good use. So part of my overall project was just improving the trails as well, and the signs of the cross that are back there. And I'm sorry, I got a little caught up here. So yeah, that was pretty much my project, and I'm very sure that the church is appreciative of the boxes are here, as I was appreciative of them for allowing me to erect such a structure on their property.
It is now time for the highlight of our program, presentation of the Eagle Scout Award. I'd like to ask Scoutmaster Mike Nelson to come forward and make the appropriate presentations.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to be here to celebrate Stephen's accomplishments. Stephen, if you could come up and join me up here on the podium as we move through this. Yeah, come on up here. For both of us. We've heard a lot about what it means to be an Eagle Scout. Now I'd like to give you your chance to see what it means to you.
So, they say about only 4% of Boy Scouts ever become Eagle Scouts. First time I heard that was motivation enough for me to strive to become part of that 4%. Well, being an Eagle Scout to me means more than a title, more than a badge, more than a medal or a box to cross off on an application. It means much more. It means I am now among few, but many, that have both the burden and the privilege to live by the Scout oath and law for the rest of my life.
Becoming an Eagle Scout's a great honor. It's also got great responsibility, Stephen. At this time, I would like you to remind us what is required of you as you become an Eagle Scout.
An Eagle Scout is privileged with upholding the Scout oath and law during everyday life, even when times are trying. To always live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and slogan as if they were a credo for the rest of my years, wherever life takes me, regardless of the situation or task at hand. Every action I execute will be done decisively, while consciously taking note of the blessing and burden in mind. This community has given me so much in regards to the experiences I've shared thus far with my fellow Scouts and colleagues alike. However, now the torch has been passed to me, as it has been to many Eagle Scouts both now and to come, to give back to society, the society that has helped me become the leader that I am today. It is now my responsibility, no, my privilege, to demonstrate with extreme prejudice the leadership in which I have spent years honing, but now to help cultivate the leaders of the future, the new Eagle Scouts of this generation, within our troop and afar, and hope that one day others may walk along the long, rewarding trail to Eagle and see their ambitions both speedily and effectively come to fruition.
At this time, I'd like to ask Eagle Scout Austin Nelson to come up and give Mr. Stephen Dolan the Eagle charge.
During your time in Scouting, you have learned and lived the Cub Scout promise, the law of the pack, the Cub Scout motto, and of course the Scout oath, law, motto, and slogan. Each time you're presented with a new code of conduct, the words run familiar to you. You struggle to memorize them. Later, of course, you recited them as easily as you recite your own name and the lessons you taught you. Today, for the first time, you repeat the Eagle Scout promise. Again, some of the words will be unfamiliar, but as you live out life as an Eagle Scout, they too will become a part of you. Making that new promise does not mean that you should forget all the other promises. Instead, I challenge you to always remember and live by the promises made as a Scout, all the codes you have agreed to follow. Now, finally, it's time for that Eagle Scout promise we keep talking about. Though the words you say are similar to those you have said many times before, today they will mean more to you than they ever have. When you pledge yourself on your sacred honor, we'll be sealing the oath with the words which close the Declaration of Independence. This time I would like all Eagle Scouts in the audience to please rise. Scout Son. I affirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout oath.
I affirm my allegiance.
I affirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout oath.
I affirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout oath.
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
I thoughtfully
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
I thoughtfully recognize I thoughtfully recognize and take upon the responsibilities and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
On my honor, I will do my best.
On my honor, I will do my best
to make my training an example.
to make my training an example.
My rank and my influences count strongly for the better scouting.
To make my training an example, and my rank and influence count strongly for the better scouting.
And for better citizenship.
And for better citizenship.
In my troop.
In my troop.
In my community.
In my community.
And in contact with other people. To this I pledge my sacred honor.
And in contact with other people. To this I pledge my sacred honor.
Stephen Dolan for quite some time. I think I was probably the first person to shake his hand when he walked into the troop. So he's been a big part of my time in Scouts, and I think a small part in his. So, before he goes off to do all the great stuff that he's destined to do, I'd like to share a couple of stories, 3 to be exact. So, there was a time, I think Stephen and the other Stephen will remember this, when I was the nice guy. I was the good guy of the troop, right? And Stephen, no matter how awesome he is, he can find out how to exploit certain things. We were camping out on this trip called Klondike, and Klondike means cold. It really does. So Stephen Dolan, being the charismatic guy that he is, he was hanging out in our tent. And we were up late talking because we can, we're men, so we can do that. It was getting late, and Stephen Dolan says, I am too tired to walk back to my tent. It is too cold out there. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. You can just sit back there. So we're trying to go to sleep, and 5 minutes later, Stephen says, I am really cold. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Just go to sleep, right? No. 5 minutes later, he says, I'm really cold. So Stephen, in his persuasive ways, manages to get me, the reputed good guy of scouting, to give him my dang sleeping bag. It is 5 degrees outside, and Stephen will not walk back to his tent. He gets my sleeping bag, and he sleeps in that. And I pull on my coat, and I shiver my way through the night. Poor me. Oh. Yeah. Look at you, Steve. So, there's a couple more stories. One, I think you won't like this as much. We're camping out at summer camp, right? And anyone that's been to summer camp knows that about 5 days in, there's this haze of craziness that's just kind of hanging over everybody. Because you've been sweating all week, you've been stuck with the same people, the same moldy tents, But here comes along, towards the end of the week, the highlight of our experience. It's what we call Hot Sister Night. Everyone goes crazy. We have everyone's family come in, right? They get together, they go up to the hall, they eat their pizza, and it's just a good time, right? But we, boys being boys, we are enjoying ourselves. So, come along, families come up to visit the campsite, and we're having a good time and hanging out with people. Across the campsite, Stephen Dolan, this classic Boy Scout, sees this angel. She is just so beautiful, She's the sister of one of the lucky fools in this troop, and he is just in love with this person. It's like the classic fairy tales. It is awful. He starts throwing the frisbee around, jumping up and down, being all charismatic. Classic Stephen. And he's just loving this girl. I won't name this poor girl because one of her relatives is here today, but it was really funny. He was talking about her the next day. That's how sad it was. In his defense, summer camp can get a little bit hectic. Now, before I go down, I've got one more story, and this is more about me than it is about him, but I think it kind of captures our relationship. So, I think you can tell by this point that we do some stupid stuff in Scouts. And the classic example involves me. So we're camping out, we're doing our thing, we're having a good time, and we're up on this beautiful property. And one of the cool aspects of this property is this tire swing that they've got hanging over this valley, right? This is a story that will outlive my time here in Scouting. So we get together, we're doing our thing, we're on the tire swing, but we're not happy with how the tire swing goes, because we can either have the kind of cool stuff or the really cool stuff. So what we decide, ignoring the drop, right, is that we're going to see who can go the highest and the furthest on this dang tire swing, right? So we work out some tactics, we're doing our thing, but I, being the smart Boy Scout that I am, I say, you know, how about you guys pull me back up the hill and then let me go, and we'll see what happens, right? So they pull me up. They're going up an incline like this, literally. They're pulling me up, pulling on roots just to get the tire swing a little bit higher with a little more momentum. And before they let me go, they shot something that I will remember until the day I die. He's going all the way! And they let me go. And I'm in midair, and I'm swinging, and I'm feeling good. And you know in cartoons, when you get up in midair, and the person's not falling back or whatever, he's just like stopped right there. I have that moment. And I swing back. There's a video of this, by the way. I swing back, and I smack the dang tree, and I am out. And you can tell to the date when I hit that dang tire swing. Just look at my grades. They all go down. Now, it was pretty bad. I'm not going to complain about it because it's not about me, it's about Stephen. But I tell this story because I don't remember much about that whole period. But I do remember, and this perfectly captures our relationship. When Stephen hears about this collision, he gives me 2 words. You dumbass. I think that kind of encapsulates our relationship. Congratulations.
Okay. Stephen, you're ambitious, bold. Okay. Stephen, you are ambitious, bold. You are different from everyone else. Bright, cheerful. You always make me smile when I'm feeling down. You are my brother, and I'm glad to see that. I love you with all my heart. You might get on my nerves, but that's what siblings do. Who feels the need to be successful? You are my role model. Who needs everything that happens to you? There's a reason for everything. You gave all your love to friends, family, and associates who fears to fail, who would like to see the better in people. You are a resident of my heart. Congratulations, Stephen Dolan.
Jump back in on the trip that you came. We kind of jumped, but this is great. This is what it's all about. It's your court of honor. So let's, if the honor guards would please.
The idea is that if it doesn't fit you, you can take it back to the scout office and get one that does. It's a little hard when we buy these ahead of time to make sure each one fits. This is my 41st year in scouting. I was never a scout as a boy, and I always regret the fact that I wasn't, because I would have loved to set my goal like yours to be an Eagle Scout. But I live vicariously by having a little part to play in every scout's life, and especially the ones that go on the Eagle. I remember them all. So, incidentally, this is really good if you're on a cold night.
Here he comes.
Absolutely. Get ready.
Okay, back to the fun stuff. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Danlich. I'm one of the assistant scoutmasters here at Troop 111. Before I start, I'd like to say, JR, with good guys like you, I'm glad we don't have too many bad guys in the troop. And I'm also glad that I don't have a daughter. What did I want to say? I remember when Stephen first joined the troop, moved out from New York. And here was this kid, you know, he had his pants tucked into his spit-shine black combat boots, military style. His aviator sunglasses. I don't even think I knew you looked like the first 6 months. And if I saw it right, there were some pictures with some dog tags. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So my first impression was sort of like, you know, what's this kid's deal? You know? But then I met his dad, and I thought, it could be worse. You know? I think maybe I can work with this kid. So, a couple of memories. A few years ago at summer camp, I think it's Thursday night, it might be Wednesday, they do an evening prayer service at camp. And the one year they were giving out Bibles. And I saw a lot of the boys took the Bibles, and I think, quite frankly, that many of them took them because they didn't want to be the boy that didn't take one. But the next day, more than 20 hours later, I found Stephen down by the waterfront reading his new Bible by himself. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I came up to him, and I saw a boy by himself, buddy system, by the way. And I just came over to make sure everything was okay. And I saw what he was doing, and I said, don't ever stop reading. Right? Remember? And I'm saying that again. Don't ever stop. And along those lines, Stephen has been begging me for a couple of years now to get trained to be a counselor for the Adult Tarry Day religious emblem. That's the first of the Catholic religious emblems. All of the faith traditions have the religious emblems. But Stephen is very interested in growing in his faith. I'm very sorry I haven't finished the training yet. It's been more difficult than either of us thought it would be, but there's still time, and I'm still hoping to pull it off if you are. And then my last memory, Stephen, was a few years ago. I went up to the climbing wall. There were several boys from Troop 111 that were doing the climbing merit badge. My son was one of them. And I wanted to see, I took some pictures, some of those pictures are mine. But man, Stephen, going up that wall, like Spider-Man, just right up the wall. No problem at all. It was amazing. He's got a real gift for that. And I want that to stay with you as an image as you go forward in life. If you remember and live by your faith, if you remember and live by the Scout Oath and the Scout Law, then whenever you're faced with a challenge, you'll go up it like you did that. You might slip a little bit here and there, but you'll get over it. Congratulations.
All right, so I am the other Stephen in the troop. Obviously the person. So I remember meeting Stephen first before he was in the troop. He had the privilege of coming to visit my patrol, and I see this guy. He comes up big talk about joining the Navy. I'm like, this toothpick joining the Navy? And then now, as I see him, I run track with this toothpick as well. But I see him, and he has grown so much in Scouts and so much in sports that he is one of the most athletic guys I know. And I also think that if he gets in the Navy, man, he's going to succeed in the Navy. But as great as a leader as he is, and as relaxed as he can be, and as funny as he can be serious sometimes. But the more funniest part is when, that's not a word, but is when he was trying to learn how to hurdle. So I am a hurdler on the Alamo track team, and so I went over to go practice, and Stephen has come out to indoor track practice for the first time, which is deceiving my name because practice is not indoor, and it is in the winter. So Muscles get tight in the cold, most of you know. So everybody has a strong leg, everybody's got a weak leg. Your weaker leg follows by, this is going to take some demonstration here. Your weaker leg follows like this, okay? And not everybody's fast enough to get the right amount of steps in between, so you come with the strong leg every time. So Dolan had to learn how to use his weak leg as a strong leg, and sometimes. And I've never seen somebody go across a hurdle with both legs like this. I saw somebody hit the track so hard in the cold, and man, the fact that he got up, I was like, yeah, he'll be okay, maybe. And then, so, granted, I don't really, fall when I hurdle. I gracefully get up, and then, Dolan, he was up quick and wanted to do it again because he was not going to let that hurdle teach him who's boss. So, Dolan perseveres through a lot of things, and the fact that he's up here giving some word today means he's persevered more than a lot of us have been in our whole lives already. So, I'm glad to call him a friend, I'm glad to call him a teammate, and now I'm glad to call him an Eagle Scout. So.
All right, so my name is Joshua Oliver. I'm the Assistant Senior Patrol Leader of Troop 119. I'm also a member of the track and field team at Atmore High School. My greatest memory of Steven, I met Steven in 7th grade, 8th grade, something around there in middle school at Jack Dewitt. But my greatest memory happened not too long ago. We're at track practice at indoor, and Steve comes up, he's like, Josh, I'm gonna pole vault. I'm a pole vaulter, and I was like, Steve, what do you mean you're gonna pole vault? He's like, I'm gonna pole vault. I was like, it just doesn't have, you don't take a giant stick and jump over a bar overnight. Unless your name is Stephen Dolan, and then you do. So, we had conference championships were in a week. Coach came to me and said, Josh, we need more points. I was like, what do you want me to do? He's like, teach someone how to pole vault. So, Steve comes up, he's like, I'll do it. I was like, okay. So, we get Steve vaulting in 3 days, and he comes in 3rd place at the conference championship. Yeah. Granted, there were only 3 people. It's not the point. He still cleared something, which is impressive. Most people don't start vaulting until like 2 weeks after they start. Steve started 3 days. Is that really showed you? The first time he went up off of that pole, I was very scared. Because if you don't know, when you pole vault, there's a pole, there's 2 giant metal bars, and he was about that far away from smashing his head into one of those metal bars, and I thought, I was like, Steve, you're done. He's like, no, I'm not. He goes over again, and he has it, just like that. So that just shows you that, again, like the hurdle story, Steve's not just gonna, let some object keep him down. It's just gonna keep going. So that's my memory of Steve.
Yeah, I've been chaplain's aide a couple times in the troop, and one of the things you have to sponsor is to get religious emblems. And not that many scouts in our troop even care about religious emblems. They won't go up to you and ask about them. Stephen Dolan would run after me after the meeting when I'm heading to my car just to ask about adult dating. He was that determined about it. So I said I would look into it, and then he just kept texting me and texting me and texting me and texting me, asking, did I look into it? So he was really into his religion stuff, and that was pretty cool. Then another thing was, we learned Stephen was from New York, and with most New Yorkers, they know their pizza. They don't like it when you give them terrible pizza. So at summer camp, which is not known for their food, they were serving pizza out, and Stephen, it looked like you just insulted him because he looked at it and he's like, this is not pizza, I'm not eating whatever this is. And he just kept talking about it for the rest of the meal. He would not let it go. Well, good job.
Some of you guys are new and you don't know me. I'm Gary Kellenberger. I used to be in the troop. I did not have the honor and or privilege to be a scout with Stephen for a really long time. I think we were together for 2 years in the troop. I think the last position I held was the quartermaster, and if you've ever been quartermaster, you know it's not an easy thing to do. There's so much gear that you check in and all that other kind of stuff, but Stephen was always up there helping me out, making sure that all the gear was checked in, making sure that it was always right. And every single trip that I ever went on Stephen with, he never had a dull moment. It was always, how can we make this a better trip? How can we do this? How can we do this? If you're feeling down, he'd always try to cheer you up. And that's all what being an Eagle Scout is about. Welcome to the Brotherhood.
Thanks so much, man.
So a lot of people have talked about, he never lets an object get in his way. And we used to play football during campouts a lot. And there was one time, I think it was at Camp Shenandoah, that we were on the same team, and we had scored a lot in the game already. And the other team had the ball, and I was playing defense. And the ball came up, I looked up, and I felt something on my back. Happened to be a shoe, and he used me as a ladder. He caught the ball. But the one thing I remember from that camp out is feeling that shoe in my back and then feeling the ground. And he's never going to let an object get in his way. He never let me get in his way. So that's my greatest memory. But yeah, that's just his determination. He never lets something get in his way. So congratulations.
Quick, just mainly because I know you don't like public speaking and all that, but I'm just going to share a story anyway. I don't know if a lot of Eagle Scouts typically do that, they're on court of honor, but you know what? That's my court of honor. But I've been very fortunate enough to know Austin for the last 4 years that I've been down here, and each spring break I was also extremely fortunate to be able to go down with his family to the Outer Banks. So thank you very much for that as well. Something that Austin and I really love is just pretty much only a couple of things: music, relaxing, and longboarding, and that's about it. You give us all three of those things and we're done. That's it. So I remember, I think it was either the first or second trip we went down there, probably both. It happened so many times. But so we would go out and longboard every day, just because it's always beautiful down there, and even when it's raining, why the heck not? So there were always these really, really nice neighborhoods that had these awesome hills, and we would always watch these videos of these really cool longboarders doing all these cool tricks on their longboards and stuff, and we're like, oh man, we're gonna be like them, it's gonna be crazy awesome. So this one day we get to this really big hill, and I'm talking, it was a lot, it was pretty big. I don't know necessarily in measurement per se, but it was a really big hill. So Austin and I are looking at each other, and we're like, all right, you first. So ultimately, he ended up going first, and he made it down. He was sliding and all that other stuff, and there's a whole bunch of different cool slides, and you could like meander down the hill and do all this other weird stuff, and he was going down like a pro, so I'm like, all right, you can do it, I can do it. So I get on my longboard, which might I also add, I bought from my math teacher for 20 bucks. It wasn't really the best longboard in the world. So I started going down this hill. The moment I stepped on that longboard and started moving, I started wondering, why on earth am I doing this? So we're going down, and we have this on video too, if any of you guys want to come up and watch it afterwards. I got it on my phone, it's a beautiful video. I'm trying to wind down and all that other stuff, and it looks really good to start. Everyone's like, wow, dude, you're a good longboarder. And then it was perfect right up towards the end, until my trucks, which are like the little things that hold the wheels like an axle, locked up on me. And the board went shooting out, like just in some direction, and I went face planting on my body on another. Might I also mention, the biggest protection that we had was a helmet, not a shirt, not socks, not shoes. So this is probably terrorizing me here for a decent amount of parents, but it was a good experience nonetheless. So I end up just smacking my body straight up on the pavement, on the concrete, and I didn't move for a second. And Austin's just like, whoa. And you could even hear him on the video, and it was great. First thing he says, he's just like, "You all right, man?" And the first thing you hear me do is I am just laughing like crazy. That's the only thing I remember is I was just laughing like crazy. And you're like, "Well, at least we got it on the video. You looking like a stud." That's right. So we would just do that all day long, and I just remember those days. I'm pretty sure one day we actually cumulatively probably, I don't even know how many miles it was, but if you got 10 miles down and back, yeah, So 20 miles of longboarding, straight up, cross-country longboarding in like one day. Maybe we hit a hill every now and then, and traffic every 2 seconds. So if you guys have ever been to the Outer Banks, there's like a bridge that you get off of to get there, and like all the stores and stuff, and then you get to the residential area. It's like a 2-minute drive. You look out, you see, oh, stores, beach, really nice. When you're on a longboard, it feels like 9 years. So we would just do that and come home and our legs would be dead, and then we would just hang out in the hot tub watching stupid videos and stuff and whatnot. But I cherish those moments with you, and you were a huge influence on me here in the troop, and I thank you for that. So, and I really thank all you guys for doing the same. So, some of you may know that at least as far as colleges and stuff are concerned, I'm working towards hopefully heading off to Navy and pursuing flight career and stuff like that. And you guys have been so supportive of that. It's not even funny, and I cannot thank you guys enough for the support that you guys have given me to get to where I am today. The amount of work that I have done, that you guys have pushed me to do, especially as far as Eagle is concerned, has not even come. It is done beyond for preparing me for the stuff that I'm already embarking on and that I'm going to hopefully embark upon for the rest of my years. So thank you guys so much. All the adults have been just crazy helpful to me in one way or another, and especially the ones that come from Navy backgrounds. So, sorry everyone else. Go Navy, the Army. So I guess it's very typical to give out mentor pins during these things, and I'd like to give one out to the same person who I wrote this poem for. Ms. Noss, can you come up real quick? Ever since I walked into this troop from the very first day, you were the most, probably the most greeting of adults out of every single one of them. Very welcoming, and you still do it today. I sit here as an older scout and just wonder, how do you do it? Just every single little rascal that walks into the door that comes and joins this troop, and trust me, they can get on our nerves. We know that for a fact. But you come in with a smile on your face and you make them feel at home. So I just want to give you this pen to let you know that you made me feel at home.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.